Greetings and salutations, I'm Ishimoto Gray, and this is going to be a different video than usual. It's going to be a commentary video. So let's get right on to it. So this video was prompted by something I've noticed. It was the weekly reset. I went to Eververse, and what do I see? Another special pack, purchasable with only silver, and it had apparently exclusive stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, you already had one Eververse pack at the beginning of the event. So why another in the second week of the event? Wasn't the dawning debacle enough with the whole monetization and being a cash grab through Eververse? Go figure. And earlier, Chris Barrett made some tweets about upcoming changes to the game after the new year, because everyone at Bungie is on holidays because, you know, Christmas, New Year. So the game is essentially running itself, which is probably not a good idea and probably why the Eververse thing happened after the debacle, but we'll get to that later. So the tweets essentially say that for the upcoming Iron Banner and Faction Rally events, in addition to brand new seasonal armor ornaments, we're adding new themed sparrows, ghost ships, and shaders to the reward pools. This is nice, except it was already in the game database, meaning it was coming anyway. The other tweet said, also early next year we're refactoring raid itemization across the game. The most difficult activities should be the most rewarding. We agree, not just raid, even others require it, but I'll mention that later. Chris Barrett also did the usual "we're listening" comment, along with the promises of more communication after the new year, and then he just ran into an extra thing saying, oh wait, one more thing, and he said that we have a short-term and long-term solutions for vault space in the works, since I know that is another hot topic. It really is, which essentially segues into the next thing I want to talk about, which is, indeed, inventory space. So inventory space and vault space are like in this massive premium, because vault space is 200 slots. 200 slots for everything. And by everything, I mean armor, weapons, shaders, quest items, everything. Including sparrows and ghosts, yes. So if you want to have that collection, good luck with that. So what is the issue here? I mean, sure, okay, the vault has everything, so why don't we just keep things in character inventory itself? And if we kind of break down the character inventory and we think about the shader inventory in the character, and it's 50 slots. This was fine when the game released, where there were only 50 shaders. So 50 shaders, 50 slots, no-brainer, right? It's fine. And then new content started being released, and no more shaders started being added, and suddenly 50 was not enough. The thing is, you kind of take up, like, right now, 1/4 of your vault space if you want to store extra shaders. Like, around that, more or less. Not necessarily 1/4, but it'll probably become half of the current vault space at some point, if Destiny 1 was any indication. So, this is a problem. Factor into this that we just keep getting more sparrows, so collectors, such as myself, have a big issue, which is, you know, I want to have one of each. It's a collection thing. Using the words of Luke Smith, he said Destiny 2 is a collecting game. Well, okay, so let me collect things. Except I can't. Why can't I collect things? Because I don't have where to store them all. So Destiny 1 had this interesting thing, which was the kiosks. So you got a sparrow, you could delete it because it was saved, and it was in a kiosk to later retrieve it if you wanted or something. Or just as a collection, saying, hey, this is my showcase of every sparrow I had. And that was fine. But where is that in Destiny 2? Well, let's hope something like that is what Chris Barrett meant with short-term and long-term solutions for vault space. It's likely that we won't have kiosks, because right now the vault itself has a vault collection kiosk sort of thing for all the exotics you get. So I suppose we're gonna get an extension of the vault collection area. Hopefully they do the same for ghosts, because I'm kind of taking up a lot of vault space with all the ghosts I'm getting. That's terrible. Moving on, the next subject is the Infinite Forest introduced with Curse of Osiris. The idea is great. You go into this area, it randomly generates something, populates it with enemies, we go through it, we kill things. Excellent, and it's supposedly different every time, and it kind of is different every time to an extent. The issue is there's no specific goals in there. You literally just go from point A to point B, done. And more often than not, the point B is just a door you unlock. But the door you unlock is usually just using it. You don't even need to kill enemies. Sometimes you need to kill an enemy that has this red aura around it. Ooh, scary. So you kill it, and then you can open a door. But there's like no boss or anything. It's just this thing, that thing. We essentially run through ignoring everything. It would be fun if it was a speedrun mode, if there was some speedrun game mode in the game, like go through the Infinite Forest as fast as you can in a fixed layout or whatever. But it's not the case. So, sound idea, not so good execution. Like, they could add very different things, like the speedrun thing I mentioned. They could add a Prison of Elders like horde mode, you know, like area or arena is generated, you kill waves of enemies and ends in the boss, and you move to the next arena, and so on and so forth till you reach the end reward. It would work. It's kind of like Prison of Elders from Destiny 1, where you'd have multiple doors. One would open, you'd go in, kill things, come back, go to the next till everything is destroyed, and you go and get your end reward. The other mode that actually is in the game, there's a Mercury Adventure inside the Infinite Forest that has this mode in a very limited capacity, but still has it, which is a defense game mode. Essentially, hordes of enemies come at you and they're trying to capture a certain specific point that you need to defend. In this specific adventure, it's just like 2 waves and it's done. But it's such a wasted opportunity because this could work as an extra game mode inside the Infinite Forest for multiple players. It would be nice. I think it would be fun for multiple players to do this, but nope, none of that. Another interesting thing that I'd like to talk about is fans doing Bungie or Activision's work. Some of us have heard about the music of the spheres that Marty O'Donnell created alongside Paul McCartney and Michael Salvatore. This was never really released. It was finished, not released, and this caused some strange turmoil, and Marty O'Donnell was fired from Bungie due to creative differences, and this led to a massive brouhaha of weirdness. And what happened is everyone wanted to hear music of the spheres because we heard glimpses of it, but never the full thing. And suddenly, as a Christmas gift, someone that had it decided to leak it, and now we can hear it because it was indeed finished, and there were indeed some recorded discs with it. So whoever had it had the wonderful idea of leaking the whole thing for our hearing pleasure. Thank you. Another thing is a Destiny lore book. A fan decided to make Destiny lore books using the Destiny Grimoire information. This is Destiny 1. We're not talking about Destiny 2. Destiny 2 does not have a Grimoire. Has other things, but not a Grimoire. So this fan did what other fans have been essentially clamoring for, which is a book, or books in this case, with the Destiny Grimoire, which is a brilliant idea. Like, why not? But no, instead what was done was bury the Destiny 1 Grimoire out of the internet, and the only way you can actually see it is through fan sites that decided to collect the entire Grimoire. Some actually had this amazing idea of organizing everything, which is amazing, but Activision and Bungie never really decided to do what they probably should have done after Destiny 1 was done. As a sort of segue into Destiny 2, it's like, here's the lore from Destiny 1, here's books with it. No, they figured that they wouldn't do that, and just destroying the sites would be a good idea. So once again, fans do Bungie and Activision's work. It's pretty much the same with the Destiny Item Manager and Ishtar Commander, to name just these two, because the way you handle your Destiny inventory is terrible, like atrociously bad. And the Destiny companion app is equally bad in terms of inventory management. So these two people, fans, figured they'd do a better job, and good lord, did they do a better job. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, moving on. It's true that Destiny 2 definitely needs a lot of tweaking. Lots of quality of life improvements are needed, some that were in Destiny 1 already by the end of Year 3, which is when Rise of Iron came out. Some were even in Year 2 from the Taken King. The big one from that time was actually having quest-specific slots, instead of having your inventory and your gear slots taken by quest items, like it happens right now in Destiny 2. It's very weird. But then we kind of realize, why does this happen? It's because Destiny 1 Rise of Iron and Destiny 2 had a split development. It was a separate fork where the live team of Destiny 1 created Rise of Iron and did lots of quality of life improvements and so on, and several additions to the game. But the main team worked on Destiny 2, so everything that was added, for the most part, to Destiny 1, Year 2 onwards, was never added in the fork that was used for Destiny 2. So Destiny 2 was created in a vacuum, which was a terrible idea. I don't know why they had no specific contact with the live team that was created Rise of Iron, but that's what happened. Destiny 2 was created in a vacuum, ignoring everything that was done in Destiny 1. I don't really agree with this method of development, but who am I to criticize? I'm not at Bungie, nor at Activision, but it happened. So this is no excuse. It's just a mere explanation of why things are the way they are, in part. But they've been trying to do some changes, trying to improve this a little bit. Hopefully Chris Barrett and the inventory comment comes to fruition sooner rather than later. But another thing they did is adding masterwork weapons and the prophecy weapons from Curse of Osiris, which collecting them all leads to a special hidden reward, the Sagira Ghost Shell. This is nice. No one knew this was even a reward, but once a few people started getting all the prophecy weapons, they were like, oh my god, I just got an exotic ghost shell, which makes it look like Sagira, which is cool. No, it doesn't change the voice. So you still hear Ghost, not Sagira. They're good first steps. They just need to do more of these things. Because right now, strikes, heroic strikes, raids, and nightfalls, they need a reward tweaking. Because essentially all of these things, apart from the daily milestone rewards for the powerful engrams, there's not many other reasons to do these activities again for the week due to lack of strike-specific rewards the way we had in Destiny 1, for example. Like Grasp of Malak. There's no specific strike in Destiny 2 that gives a specific weapon. There's no Imago loop strike reward or anything. It's just nothing. It's just normal stuff from the pool. Or tokens. A load of tokens. That's it. So they really need to fix this, because at least Chris Barrett mentions the tweaking of activity rewards, so I really hope they take this to heart and do a good job, because it's needed. It's needed. Then in terms of your actual character ability, the ability cooldowns kind of need tweaking. If not for PvP, at least for the PvE content, because I know they did all this because of PvP balancing, but sometimes there's too much balancing. There's something like too much balance. And when it gets to the too much balance thing, where things sometimes can get too chaotic, I suppose it can get a little boring. But if they want to do this, at least balance PvP and PvE separately. Like, give us faster cooldowns in PvE or something. It's just kind of underwhelming, at least compared with Destiny 1. I did this experiment, I went to Destiny 1, and everything was charging way faster. And it really gave you that feeling of being more powerful, which was funny and sad at the same time. So they definitely need a tweak. If they want to keep it like this for PvP, fine, whatever, but change it for PvE at least. The one thing that definitely needs a severe fixing is the weapon time to kill. I'm going to refer to this as the weapon TTK from now on for simplicity's sake. And it's currently too high, which leads to the team shooting problem. Like, some weapons have 1.5 seconds of time to kill. And you think, oh, 1.5 seconds, that's super short. In a game, it's not, because you can react to 1.5. You can't even react to 1 second, but 1 second is harder. But 1.5 is actually a lot of time because of the way response time works in the brain. So usually you can either get out of the fire or something if it's just a one-on-one, or dodge or whatever, because you have time of feeling that you're being hit. And your brain just has that time. It's time enough for your brain to process a way to get out of there. So while flanking is possible, it kind of makes it harder as well. So I guess it really depends. So I suppose maybe that little sweet spot would be not quite House of Wolves TTK, not quite Rise of Iron TTK, but something in between. Which is around 1 second, not 1.5, and sometimes less, like 0.75 seconds. Which I guess 0.75 in 1 second is good for a TTK. In theory, anyway. So it'll probably be a bit more fair and would definitely stop the whole team shooting issue. It would still exist because it even exists in Destiny 1. But if someone wanted to flank or surprise an enemy, they could without not getting their kill, defeating the purpose of doing a solo skill run. This leads to another interesting thing about the TTK, which is the console versus PC version weapon behavior difference. Most weapons behave the same if you ignore the recoil, because for whatever reason they figured that on keyboard and mouse every weapon has way less recoil, which is strange. You'd probably think the keyboard and mouse could control it better, like in games like, let's say, Counter-Strike in PUBG and so on, weapons have recoil, they have kick. So with a keyboard and mouse, you control it better. With gamepad, it's probably harder, but what they did was have a higher recoil for gamepads, even on the PC version, than for keyboard and mouse. And one can say, oh, we have auto-aim for gamepads, even on PC. Yes, but you know, someone with a steady hand just doesn't even need that. This leads to a very specific weapon that is completely different in behavior between consoles and PC, which is the hand cannons. The difference really makes no sense. There's something called bloom. At least people call it bloom on consoles for hand cannons. What is bloom? Bloom is this chance that some of your shots may randomly miss even if the target is dead on center. This is bullshit, by the way. Like massive bullshit. And you think, okay, fine, but what's the difference then? The difference is that on PC, there's no bloom. So if something is dead on center, it's gonna get hit. This is not just the keyboard and mouse thing on PC. Even if you use gamepad on PC, there's no bloom. So it's like you have console controls if you use a gamepad on PC, minus the bloom. This is a game changer, by the way, because hand cannons on PC with the gamepad have a considerably high auto-aiming thing, so it's essentially lasers of death. Either with gamepad or keyboard and mouse. They're lasers of death on PC. Even some hand cannons are considered bad on the console version. On PC, they're deadly because they're lasers. Get 3 shots in someone's head, they die. And in some blue hand cannons, 2 shots can kill them. So without the bloom, suddenly everything can kill. So with a stable and accurate hand on PC, due to the lack of bloom, hand cannons are deadly. And you go to the PC version on the Crucible and everyone has a hand cannon. Some form of hand cannon. They have it. Better Devil, Sunshot. Because yes, Sunshot is actually pretty popular on PC for Crucible because suddenly it's super accurate. Oh my god. It's a strange difference. I don't know why it happens, why they decided to do this change or have this massive difference, specifically in hand cannons, but it's a thing. Will they change it? Will they remove bloom on consoles? I don't know, they added on Destiny 1 for consoles, so they probably are gonna keep it. The question is more if they're gonna add it on PC or not. That's gonna be an interesting shitstorm. But I may be critical, but I'm being critical as a fan, because I do want Destiny 2 to succeed. This is not me being nitpicky, this is me being someone who's been playing Destiny 1 since the betas. And despite all the issues that Destiny 1 had, that fortunately were fixed or tweaked and improved throughout its 3-year lifespan, it's a fun game, and I'm a fan. And I hope Destiny 2 can get out of this rut, and that Bungie and Activision just decided to go, well, we kind of need to do something, or, you know, this is gonna be a flop. Except it's, at least in terms of sales, it's not, but it'll just die down. And they don't want this. They don't want a Destiny 1 situation where a Taken King Year 2 recovery was required, because Destiny 2 does not have enough time to reach a Year 2 the way it is. They kind of need to do this fix much sooner rather than wait later. But despite this, the game foundation is good. And because of this, Bungie really needs to work on the goodwill with the players, because a lot of people aren't exactly pleased with them, which in turn makes them jaded towards the game. So it doesn't matter if the game foundation is good if people don't play it, which is a pity, because the feel of the weapons is good. The gameplay is tight and smooth. So the potential is there, they just need to tap into it. The game actually has a lot of content. There's just very little reward in most of said content apart from the weekly milestones, which come and go pretty quickly till next week, leaving a massive progression gap in its wake. So I really hope they tap into this potential, because Destiny 2 is a good game at its core. It just needs tweaks to be more than just a good game. That's it for today. Hope you like and subscribe to boost our light. Please leave suggestions in the comments below. Eyes up, Guardians, and see you next time.